I'd like to take you on a little tour through the architecture of reality. I think you'll find it quite interesting. You see, I believe that nature and the universe itself follows certain patterns, shapes, and proportions that make it so beautiful and harmonious. And one of these patterns is something called the golden ratio. Now, you may have heard of the golden ratio before in connection with art or design. It's often used there because it's supposed to make things look more aesthetically pleasing. But what actually is the golden ratio? In short, it's a mathematical relationship between two quantities where the ratio of the sum of the quantities is equal to the ratio of the larger to the smaller one. A bit complicated to say, but easy to understand if we use an example. Imagine you have a line divided into 5 segments. The ratio between the longer part and the whole is 8:13, and the ratio between the smaller part and the whole is 5:8. The golden ratio is found when the ratio between the longer part and the smaller part is the same as the ratio between the whole and the longer part. In other words, 8:13 divided by 5:8 equals 8:5. This means that the sum of the smaller and larger parts divided by the larger part is equal to the larger part divided by the smaller part. And this number is approximately 1/618. But why do I care? Well, turns out the golden ratio appears all over the place in nature and the universe. We find it in galaxies, plants, animals, even our own bodies. I'm going to show you some examples. But first, let me tell you that I'm not the only one who's fascinated by the golden ratio. It has captured the interest of scientists, artists, architects, and philosophers for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks believed that the golden ratio was the key to the beauty of nature, and they used it extensively in their art and architecture. For example, the Parthenon, one of the most iconic buildings in the world, was designed using the golden ratio. The ancient Greeks also believed that the golden ratio could be found in the human body, and they used it to create sculptures that were perfectly proportioned. One of the most famous examples is the Greek sculpture of the ideal man, where the height of the head is to the width of the shoulders, as the width of the shoulders is to the height of the body. But it's not just the Greeks who have been obsessed with the golden ratio. Leonardo da Vinci was fascinated by it too, and he used it in his paintings, including the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. He believed that the golden ratio was the key to creating art that was perfectly balanced and harmonious. Other famous artists who have used the golden ratio include Michelangelo, Raphael, and Rembrandt. Okay, enough history. Let's talk about nature. As I said before, the golden ratio isn't just found in art and architecture, it's all over the place in nature. Take galaxies, for example. If you look at spiral galaxies from space, you can see that they are made up of 2 main parts, a central bulge and a flat disk. The ratio between the size of the bulge and the disk is approximately 1 to 1.618, the golden ratio. Now, this isn't just a coincidence. There's a physical explanation for why this happens. It has to do with the way that matter clumps together under the force of gravity. But nevertheless, it's still amazing to see how the golden ratio manifests itself in such a large-scale structure as a galaxy. But let's move on to something a little closer to home. The golden ratio is also found in plants. Take a look at this sunflower. Can you see how the petals are arranged in a spiral pattern? If you count the spirals, you'll find that the number of clockwise spirals plus the number of counterclockwise spirals equals 34. And if you divide 34 by 21, you get 1.619, very close to the golden ratio. This pattern is found in many other plants as well, such as pineapples, artichokes, and cacti. The arrangement of leaves on a stem is also based on the golden ratio. If you take a close look at a leaf, you'll see that each leaf is slightly rotated with respect to the one below it. This creates a spiral pattern along the stem, and the angle between each leaf is approximately 137 degrees, which is the golden angle. This ensures that all the leaves have access to sunlight, and it also makes the plant more resistant to wind. And what about animals? The golden ratio is found there too. Take a look at the nautilus shell. The chambers of the shell are arranged in a spiral pattern, and the ratio between the inner and outer shell is approximately 1.618. This is just one example, though. The shells of other sea creatures like scallops and abalone also follow the Fibonacci sequence, and the growth pattern of many animals also follows the golden ratio, including rabbits, deer, and elephants. Okay, now let's talk about the human body. As I said before, the ancient Greeks believed that the golden ratio was the key to the beauty of the human body. And there is some truth to this. The human body is made up of many parts, and the ratio between the different parts is very close to the golden ratio. For example, the ratio between the length of the face and the length of the body is approximately 1.618. The same is true of the ratio between the width of the face and the width of the body. Even the ratio between the length of the arms and the length of the torso is close to the golden ratio. Now, it's important to note that the golden ratio is not an exact value in nature. It's just an approximation. But nevertheless, it's still amazing to see how often the golden ratio appears in the human body. Some people believe that the golden ratio is what makes the human body so beautiful. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's certainly an interesting theory. So what does all this mean? Why does nature follow the golden ratio? Some believe that the golden ratio is evidence of a greater order in the universe, a kind of divine intelligence that created everything according to this perfect proportion. Others believe that there is a physical explanation for the golden ratio, and that it's simply a result of the laws of nature. I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that the golden ratio is one of the most fascinating phenomena in nature. It's a reminder that there is still so much that we don't understand about the universe, and that there is always more to learn. All right, my friends, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me on this tour through the architecture of reality. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I would love to have you join our community. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.